I stared at the papers on the kitchen table, the weight of every word pressing down on me. Divorce. Final. Signed. I couldn't move. You look miserable, Lena said from the doorway, casually sipping her coffee. Her voice was calm. Too cold. I can't believe this is happening, I muttered. My hands shook as I pushed the papers slightly away. I thought we had something real. She raised an eyebrow, like I was pathetic. Real? Oh, we had real fun, sure. But that doesn't pay the bills, does it? She smiled, that sharp, cruel smile I hated more than anything. I met someone, better suited for me. Someone who actually understands value. My chest tightened. Better? You mean richer? That's all this is about, isn't it? My voice cracked, but I couldn't hide the hurt. She shrugged. I don't have to explain myself to you. We both knew we were growing apart. You just didn't notice it until now. I laughed bitterly, a sound I barely recognized as mine. Growing apart? Lena, we lived together for 10 years. 10 years. And you just throw it all away for money? Her eyes flicked to the window. It's not about money. It's about freedom, about opportunity. Something you'd never understand. I felt the world tilt. I wanted to scream, to grab her and make her hear me, but no sound came out. And what about me? 10 years, does that mean nothing? She tilted her head, her expression unreadable. It means it was convenient for a while. I'm moving on. You should too. The words hit me like ice. I wanted to hate her, but all I could do was feel hollow. I could hear the echo of our laughter, our arguments, the quiet nights. I could feel it slipping away. A knock at the door broke me from my trance. Mark, I croaked, barely able to speak. He stepped in, concern written all over his face. Hey, I heard, are you okay? Okay. I whispered. Do I look okay? She's leaving me. For him. I couldn't even say the name. It felt like swallowing glass. Mark pulled up a chair. Sit down, man. Breathe. Talk to me. I sank into the chair, my hands trembling. I trusted her, everything I had, and I stopped, the words failing. Hey, Mark said gently, I know it feels like the end of the world, but it's not. You're not alone. We'll get through this. I can't even, my voice faltered. I can't understand how she could do this. We built a life together. I thought love meant something. Mark put a hand on my shoulder. It does. But not everyone respects it. That's her flaw, not yours. You're better than her choice. I wanted to believe him, but a storm of shame and disbelief raged inside me. Better? I feel destroyed. I feel worthless. I don't know how to face the world after this. Mark shook his head. You'll face it. I know you will. You're stronger than you realize. I swallowed hard, forcing down the bile of humiliation. Lena sipped her coffee, seemingly enjoying my despair. I hope you find your strength soon, she said, her tone almost patronizing. I gritted my teeth, not letting her see how much it hurt. I will, I said quietly, more to myself than her. I'll find it, somehow. She nodded once and left, closing the door behind her. Silence settled over the kitchen. The papers still lay on the table, mocking me. I stared at them, the cold reality settling in. Everything I thought I had, was gone. And yet, deep down, a tiny ember of something stirred. Rage. Resolve. Maybe this wasn't the end. Maybe it was, the beginning. I walked through the living room, my fingers brushing the empty couch like I could feel the imprint of her presence. The silence was deafening. I kept expecting her voice, her laugh, even her sighs, but there was nothing. Just me, and the echoes of what used to be. Why does it feel like she's still here? I muttered aloud, more to myself than anyone else. A soft knock startled me. "Hey, are you okay?" I turned to see Sophia standing in the doorway, arms crossed, concern etched on her face. I'm fine," I said quickly, too quickly. Lies rolled off my tongue easier than tears. Sophia stepped in anyway. "You're not fine. I can see it. Look at this place, empty, silent, it's crushing you." I swallowed hard. I keep thinking I'll hear her footsteps, her voice, something. But it's just, empty. She nodded knowingly. That emptiness is where you'll find yourself if you let it. Right now, you're still lost in the shadow of her. I feel stupid, I admitted. How did I not see it? How did I let her manipulate me for so long? My voice cracked, and I sank into the armchair, head in my hands. Sophia knelt beside me. "You loved someone. That's not stupid. But maybe it's time to see her for what she really is." I let out a bitter laugh. What she is someone who could just throw everything away. For him. For money. For whatever she wants. Sophia's gaze softened. And that's her problem, not yours. Don't carry her choices like a weight around your neck. I shook my head, feeling the ache in my chest. It's more than that. It's like I can't sleep, can't eat, every corner of this house reminds me of her. And him. That new guy she's with. I can't stop imagining him in our bed, laughing in my kitchen. My words trailed into a choked whisper. Sophia reached out, gripping my shoulder. "Stop imagining. Start reclaiming. This is your house too. You don't need her ghost here." I wanted to believe her, but even walking into the kitchen made my stomach twist. I opened the fridge and stared at leftovers she used to love, now rotting. "I can't even eat," I admitted. "I just can't." "Then don't," Sophia said gently. "Start small. A cup of coffee. A glass of water. You need something tangible, something real for yourself." I leaned back, closing my eyes. Memories flooded me, our first dinner here, the night we laughed until we cried, the way she used to hum while making tea. I hated that I could still feel warmth mixed with betrayal. Sophia's voice cut through the haze. "You remember those times because they were real. But you also need to remember this moment, what she did, how she left you." Her words ignited a flicker of anger I hadn't touched yet. I can't believe I let her charm me into thinking it was all love. I let myself be blind, naive, weak. She shook her head firmly. "You were human. Don't punish yourself. Learn. Grow. Fight your way back." I rubbed my temples. Fight my way back. What if I can't? What if this emptiness just swallows me whole? Sophia smiled faintly. "Then you crawl, then you fight. You start with one step, one breath. You don't have to conquer the world today." I exhaled slowly, letting her words sink in. One step, okay. Maybe I can do that. A sudden buzzing from my phone made me jump. A text from Mark, "Thinking about you. Coffee later?" I typed back, "Yeah. I need to get out of this house." Sophia gave me a small nod. "Good. You're already moving." I wandered upstairs, passing our bedroom. The bed was stripped bare, cold and uninviting. A pang hit my chest. I closed my eyes, imagining her face, then forcing myself to see it as it truly was, cruel, selfish, unworthy of my heart. "I'm done being a ghost in my own house," I whispered, more to myself than Sophia. "I'm done letting her win. The house still felt empty, but for the first time in days, I felt a spark, something that wasn't just pain or loss. Something like determination. Outside, I could see her new partner's car in the distance, a reminder of why I had to reclaim my life. Not for her, not for him, but for me. Tomorrow, I muttered, gripping the railing, I start fighting back. I heard it before I even opened the door, her laughter, sharp and bright, carrying through the hall. Lena. Talking to her new friends. Bragging. About me. About leaving me. Honestly, it was easier than I thought, I heard her say, her voice dripping with pride. He never saw it coming. He's still in the house, staring at the walls, thinking I cared. I froze, a cold fire igniting inside me. I pressed against the wall, listening to her words, letting the humiliation sink in. I clenched my fists. She has no idea what she just unleashed, I muttered under my breath. Mark's text buzzed on my phone, "You okay? You sound tense." I typed back, "Yeah. Just overheard something." Minutes later, I called Alex. He picked up on the second ring. "Hey, man. You sound serious." "I need information," I said quickly. "About Lena. Her schedule, her friends, what she's been doing." There was a pause. "Careful," Alex said finally. "Sounds like revenge territory." "I'm not reckless," I assured him. "I just need to understand the landscape. I can't let her arrogance go unchallenged." He laughed softly. "Fair. I can dig around. You want public gossip, financial stuff, habits, whatever." "All of it," I said. "I need to know exactly who she's leaning on. Who she's showing off to. Every little weakness matters." Alex chuckled. "You're serious. I like that. Consider it done." I hung up and leaned back in my chair. My mind raced. For the first time in days, I wasn't consumed by despair. I was plotting. Slowly, carefully. Not reckless. Not desperate. Mark stopped by later. He sat across from me, frowning. "You're talking about revenge again, aren't you?" "I'm not just talking," I said. "I'm thinking. Planning. Watching. This isn't about rage anymore. It's strategy." "Strategy," he echoed. "You sound calm, but I know you. You're angry. Don't let it blind you." "I won't," I replied firmly. "Anger is just fuel. I control the engine." He leaned forward, eyes serious. "I get it. But don't lose yourself in her world. You're bigger than this, bigger than her." I smiled faintly, almost at peace with the chaos in my chest. "Bigger, yes. But she needs to see that. She needs to understand that she underestimated me." Later, I walked past the cafe where I knew she'd meet her friends. I stayed hidden, sipping my coffee, watching her laugh at some joke I wasn't part of. Every gesture, every glance, I memorized. "She really thinks she's untouchable," I muttered. "She has no idea that I'm just getting started." I texted Alex, "Any updates on her movements? I want patterns. Weak points." His reply came quickly, "She's predictable. Monday nights, drinks at the rooftop bar. Thursday mornings, yoga. Always brags about new purchases on social media. Easy to track." I read it twice. "Perfect," I whispered. Every little indulgence, every casual mention, it all counts. Karma isn't enough. I have to be precise. Later that night, Mark called. "You okay? You're different." "I'm focused," I said. "The despair is gone. Anger is gone. Now it's calculation. Every step she takes, I'll be ready. Not just for revenge, for reclaiming what's mine. Just, don't cross the line you can't come back from, he warned. I won't, I said firmly. I'll be smart. Patient. Invisible until the right moment. Alone, I sat in my study, mind whirring. Thoughts of confrontation, exposure, and subtle sabotage danced through me. Each scenario played out in my head, dialogue imagined, reactions timed. She laughed at me today, I said to no one. She thinks she's safe, untouchable. But everything she flaunts, it's all temporary. And I will be there when it all crumbles. I glanced at the window. A car passed slowly, probably her, probably him. My stomach tightened, but it wasn't fear. It was anticipation. I knew the moral lines blurred. I wondered if I was becoming the thing I hated. But I told myself it wasn't hatred. It was justice. Calculated. Controlled. Necessary. I whispered to myself, almost a vow, I will take back my life. Every insult, every betrayal. I'll make it count. Not recklessly. Not wildly. Precisely. And in that quiet night, alone in my empty house, I smiled for the first time in weeks. Not a happy smile. A determined one. She thought I was broken. She thought I'd fade away. She had no idea the fire I was building. I stared at the pile of clothes in the corner, her clothes, her shoes, her perfume bottles. Each one was a memory, a stab. I shoved the whole heap into a box. Out of sight, I muttered, more to myself than anyone. A knock at the door made me jump. Ella stood there, holding 2 coffees. Thought you could use a break, she said softly. I managed a tired smile. Thanks. I'm trying. She set the coffees down. Trying what? Everything, I admitted. I'm trying to rebuild myself. Health, work, life without her. Ella raised an eyebrow. Sounds exhausting. It is, I said, running a hand through my hair. I feel like I've been asleep for years. Now I'm waking up, and it hurts. She laughed quietly, a light in the darkness. Pain is the best alarm clock, apparently. I took a sip of coffee, savoring the warmth. I hired a coach, I said. Jordan. He's helping me focus, set goals. Keep my mind sharp. Jordan. Ella frowned slightly. The guy from the seminar last month? Yeah. He's tough, but he knows what he's doing, I said. And honestly, I need someone who won't let me collapse in my own self-pity. Ella smiled. I can respect that. But don't forget to breathe in between the drills. I chuckled, a bit of tension easing. I'll try. Over the next few days, I pushed myself. I started waking up earlier, running through the quiet streets, listening to music that once made me happy. Each step was painful at first, but gradually, I felt strength creeping back. One evening, Jordan called. How's the progress? His voice was sharp, demanding attention. Slow, but steady, I admitted. I keep reliving everything she did, but I'm learning to control it. Good, he said. Control is the difference between someone who breaks and someone who builds. You're building, aren't you? Yes, I said firmly. I want to be stronger. Smarter. Better than before. He chuckled. That's the spirit. Keep pushing. Trust your instincts, and don't let anger cloud your judgment. Use it, but don't be used by it. I hung up and stared at my reflection. He was right. Anger had been a spark, but I needed more: discipline, focus, patience. Later, Ella stopped by again. She leaned against the doorway, hands in her pockets. You're different, she said softly. I hope it's for the better, I replied. It is, she said. But be careful. Don't close off everything. I know you've been hurt, but let yourself feel other things too. I looked at her, her presence warming the room. I want to. I'm not ready to trust so easily yet. Not after her. Fair, she said with a small smile. Just don't forget to let life in when it knocks. I nodded, a faint smile tugging at my lips. Her voice, her concern, it reminded me that the world wasn't entirely cruel. That maybe I could start over. The next morning, I tackled the rest of the apartment. Old letters, gifts, photographs, all of it went into boxes. Each item was a memory, but also a weight lifted. This is for me now, I whispered. Not for her. Not for anyone. At work, I pushed myself harder. Meetings, presentations, networking, I dove in fully, letting my focus sharpen. I ran into setbacks, of course, missed calls, mistakes, but I corrected them quickly, refusing to let failure linger. One night, I met Jordan for coffee. You're improving, he said. Faster than I expected. I'm trying, I said. But some days, I feel lonely. Like all this effort is just me talking to myself. That's part of growth, he said calmly. You learn to rely on your own voice first. Then you'll attract the right people, the ones who respect it. I thought of Ella. Of Mark. Of those rare few who had stayed. I hope you're right, I said. I am, he said. And don't forget, strength isn't just physical or professional. Emotional resilience is the hardest to earn. I nodded, sipping my coffee. Then I'll earn it. Every day. That night, I sat on the balcony, looking at the city lights. The emptiness of the house felt different now. Not as crushing. Not as final. I could breathe. I could think. I could plan. A message from Alex popped up, any updates? She's still careless. Easy to track. I smirked. Perfect, I whispered. Every little detail, it's all falling into place. I thought about the anger I'd carried, the betrayal that had nearly crushed me. But now, it felt like fuel, not poison. I could rebuild. Reclaim. And when the time came, justice wouldn't be reckless. It would be precise. I leaned back in my chair, the night breeze on my face, and whispered to myself, I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm rising. Stronger. Smarter. Unstoppable. For the first time since it all began, I felt it, the faint but undeniable glow of hope. I walked into the cafe where I knew Lena would be meeting her new friends. My steps were measured, calm, every inch of me controlled. I spotted her immediately, laughing too loudly, tossing her hair, completely unaware I was watching. I pulled out my phone and sent a quick text to Alex, she's here. Let's start. Moments later, I felt the thrill of anticipation. Not fear, not doubt, just sharp, clear focus. She caught sight of me across the room, her eyes flicking briefly, then back to her conversation. I smirked. That little glance told me she still expected me to be broken. Did you see what she posted on social media? One of her friends asked, laughing. She's unbelievable, Lena said. I can't even, he thinks he's so clever, but honestly, I'm untouchable now. I leaned against the wall, pretending to check my phone, but every word cut through me, fueling a precise plan. I approached cautiously. Lena, I said softly, letting just enough surprise creep into my tone. Her eyes widened for a moment. Oh, hi. Didn't expect to see you here. I didn't expect to see you bragging, I said, voice steady. About me. About leaving me. That's bold. Lena laughed nervously. Bold? I don't know what you mean. Oh, come on, I said, lowering my voice. You're not as subtle as you think. You parade your new life like it proves something. But pride, pride can be dangerous. Her smile faltered, just slightly. I could see it in her eyes, a flicker of discomfort. Her new partner chimed in, chest puffed up, "Hey, man, just don't take it personally. She's happy now." I looked at him coolly. Happiness built on lies and greed? That's fragile. He bristled. Fragile? Careful. You're talking about my girl. And I'm talking about the truth, I said, voice low but deliberate. Small truths are easy to ignore, but they grow, don't they? Even the tiniest crack lets light in. Lena's smile disappeared completely. Her fingers fidgeted with her coffee cup. I don't know what you're implying. Nothing yet, I said smoothly. But it's funny, isn't it? How easily some people let appearances fool them. How quickly they forget who they really are. Her new partner cleared his throat. Listen, man, we don't want trouble. Just, leave us be. I tilted my head, calm, unafraid. Trouble isn't my goal. Awareness is. And awareness is the first strike. You'll see it eventually. Small inconsistencies, little truths, they have a way of surfacing. Lena shot me a glare. You're insane. Maybe, I said with a faint smile. Or maybe I'm just awake. You'll notice, though. Everyone notices eventually. That new image you're building, it's not as perfect as you think. Her friends exchanged uneasy glances. I could feel their doubt spreading like a shadow. That was enough. A seed planted. I left the cafe calmly, my phone buzzing with Alex's messages. First wave done. They're whispering. A text from Mark followed, "You're good at this. Careful not to push too far too fast." I'm aware, I muttered, already thinking ahead. Patience, precision, observation. By the time I returned home, my mind was buzzing with strategy. Each conversation, each glance, each careless comment Lena made became data. Patterns. Weaknesses. Leverage. I sat down and reviewed social media posts, public appearances, and her new circle's chatter. Every exaggeration, every boast, it all built a picture. A picture of someone inflated, brittle, unaware that the smallest nudge could crack it. I whispered to myself, almost a vow, the first strike isn't about destruction. It's about exposure. Awareness. Let her arrogance reveal itself. I imagined future confrontations, controlled, calm, surgical. Not anger-fueled tantrums, but precise reminders of reality. Each interaction a chess move, positioning me closer to reclaiming my dignity, my life, my power. The thrill wasn't just revenge, it was the reclaiming of myself. I realized the anger had evolved into clarity, focus, and discipline. I wasn't the broken man she left behind. I was calculating. Patient. Strategic. Her new partner's arrogance, her careless bragging, it was all a mirror of what she feared. That mirror would show her everything she tried to hide. And I would be there, silently, watching, waiting. I took a deep breath and leaned back. The first strike was just the beginning. The cracks were showing. And soon, they would widen, unstoppable. I smiled faintly, the night quiet around me. She thought she was untouchable. She had no idea that her world was already shifting. I walked into the conference hall, calm and deliberate. Lena was already there, surrounded by her new friends and colleagues, all laughing a little too loudly, showing off just like she always did. I could feel her eyes flick toward me, the split-second recognition, but I didn't flinch. I didn't hesitate. I had rehearsed this moment in my mind, every word, every gesture. She smirked. "Well, if it isn't him," she said, loud enough for the table to hear. "I hope you're not planning to ruin the fun again." I smiled, slow and controlled. Fun is fine. But honesty is better. Her new partner leaned in. What are you talking about? I met his gaze evenly. I think she's been exaggerating a few things. Presenting a story that doesn't quite match reality. Lena blinked, a faint twinge of panic flashing across her face. What do you mean? I gestured toward the crowd, letting my voice carry. All these little boasts, the vacations, the donations, the supposed deals you closed, I paused, letting each word sink in. They're not what you claimed. And some of the people you're impressing know it. Her laughter cracked. Just slightly, but enough for me to see it. Excuse me, she said, voice sharp now. You've been building a castle on sand, I said quietly, but everyone could hear. And tonight, the tide came in. I could see her friends exchange looks. A few whispered. Clara, standing to the side, tilted her head, observing the cracks forming in Lena's facade. Her new partner shifted uncomfortably. This isn't fair, he said. No, I said. It's not about fair. It's about truth. Something you've avoided for a long time. Lena's hands trembled slightly on her glass. You can't just. Oh, but I can, I interrupted gently. Because unlike you, I've stopped letting fear dictate my actions. I've stopped letting humiliation define me. The room went quiet. Whispers rippled across the hall. Lena's smile was gone, replaced by disbelief. Everyone, I just want to clarify something, I said, keeping my voice steady. I've seen a lot of exaggerations, a lot of half-truths passed off as achievements. It's impressive until you check the facts. And I have. Clara's eyes met mine briefly, a subtle nod of approval. She didn't speak, but the way she looked at Lena said everything. Lena's face flushed. You're lying. I shook my head. No, Lena. For once, I'm telling the truth. And you can't spin it into a story anymore. Your castle is crumbling, right here, in front of everyone who believed in it. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I can't believe this. You should have thought about that before, I said softly. Before bragging. Before pretending. Before thinking I'd never rise again. Her new partner fumed. This is harassment. No, I said, calm, almost kindly. It's revelation. The difference is subtle, but important. One's about ego. One's about reality. Lena's cheeks burned red. Her carefully curated image, the one she paraded like a trophy, was unraveling with each quiet word I spoke. And I wasn't even shouting. I wasn't even angry. I was just, precise. I glanced around, noting the stares, the whispers. People were starting to realize the truth, seeing the cracks. That satisfaction rolled through me, sweet but tempered with caution. I wasn't here to destroy, I was here to expose reality. I don't understand, Lena stammered. How did you know? I shrugged, keeping my tone casual. Observing, paying attention, listening, things you assume no one notices, but someone always does. Her new partner muttered, she can't be serious. Oh, I'm serious, I said. And I've learned something important. No one controls me anymore. Not her. Not anyone. Lena's eyes flicked toward Clara, desperate for support, but Clara stayed silent, her gaze firm and unwavering. That silence spoke louder than any words could. You're not the same, Lena said finally, her voice breaking. No, I said softly, I am the same person, only awake. Only free. You underestimated me. That was your mistake. And now, everyone can see it. I stepped back, letting the silence settle. The room buzzed with murmurs, whispers spreading like wildfire. Lena's confident, arrogant mask had slipped, revealing something fragile and human underneath. I felt a rush of empowerment, a clarity I hadn't experienced in months. The weight of her betrayal, the humiliation, it all transformed into something stronger: control, confidence, and satisfaction. I whispered to myself, more a vow than a statement, this is the turning point. The world sees her for what she truly is. And I rise. The rest of the evening, I moved through the crowd, calm and composed, letting Lena's panic play out behind me. Every glance she threw my way reminded me that the balance had shifted. I wasn't the broken man. I was the strategist, the observer, the one holding the power. And in that moment, I smiled. Bitterness lingered, yes, but it was tempered now with a sharp sense of triumph. The tide had turned. I watched the emails roll in, each one a small nail in the coffin of Lena's carefully constructed world. Miscommunications, cancelled contracts, people distancing themselves quietly but decisively. I couldn't help a small, controlled smile. Not because I wanted her hurt, but because truth had finally caught up with her. Mark leaned against my doorway, holding a cup of coffee. "You're enjoying this a little too much," he said. "I'm not enjoying it," I replied quickly. "I'm observing. She dug this hole herself." Mark raised an eyebrow. Sure. But don't let it turn you bitter. You remember what I said, don't become what you despise." "I know," I said, rubbing my temples. "I'm not her. But it's satisfying to see pride crumble when it's built on lies." My phone buzzed. A message from Alex, another slip. She blamed the wrong person in the meeting. They're whispering. I read it slowly, savoring the irony. Lena had tried to humiliate me publicly, but every misstep since had compounded her embarrassment. People who once laughed at me were now whispering about her. And I felt something strange. Relief, yes, but also a twinge of pity. That evening, I ran into Clara outside the building. She gave me a small nod, her eyes knowingly calm. "She's unraveling," I said quietly. "Yes," she said softly. "But watch yourself. Power shifts are tricky. Some people lose themselves in them." "I know," I said. "I feel it already, in a way. Satisfaction, but also emptiness." "Am I too invested?" Clara shrugged. "You're human. Just don't let it consume you." I nodded, swallowing the bitter truth in her words. She was right. Revenge was sweet, but it wasn't without cost. The next day, I attended a meeting Lena was also in. She walked in, confident as ever, or at least she tried to be. But the tension around her was palpable. Her colleagues whispered behind their hands, eyes darting toward me and away from her. "You should have read the report," one of her minor colleagues whispered to her, a smirk barely hidden. I thought I did," Lena said, voice tight. "You didn't," another colleague added, shaking their head. "The numbers don't match what you presented last week. Clients are confused." I leaned back in my chair, listening without interfering. Her panic was quiet at first, then mounting. The confidence she had once wielded like armor was slipping, and I felt the rush of vindication, tempered with unease. Later, I called Jordan. "It's happening," I said, voice low. "Her world, it's crumbling." Jordan's tone was careful. "And how does that feel?" "Strange," I admitted. "I'm proud, but there's this weight. Like I'm watching someone fall and feeling guilty for it." "That's normal," he said. "Justice isn't always clean or comfortable. The trick is to stay aware of your own path." By evening, I found myself alone in my apartment, sifting through old photographs. Lena laughing at some summer event, our smiles bright, her hand in mine. Memories I had tried to bury came flooding back. I whispered to the empty room, "How did we get here? How did someone I loved so much become this?" I thought about the time she surprised me with dinner, the nights we stayed up talking about dreams. And I thought about the lies that had crept in, subtle at first, then undeniable. The betrayal had been slow, but its impact was immediate, still echoing in my chest. A notification on my phone pulled me back. Another email from Alex, she's blaming everyone but herself. Colleagues are leaving her side fast. I sighed, leaning back. It's karma, I suppose, I muttered. But watching it, it's complicated. Mark stopped by later, a knowing smile on his face. You've changed, he said. More focused, more careful. But I can see the tension too. Don't let her downfall define you. I won't, I said, but the truth was, I couldn't help tracking each stumble, each misstep. Part of me was addicted to the precision, the justice, the inevitability of her collapse. Another part of me recoiled at the intensity of that feeling. That night, I replayed conversations in my head, the confrontations, the observations. Lena's arrogance, her new partner's overconfidence, the subtle whispers of her colleagues, it all came together like a symphony of truth revealing itself. I thought about Clara again. She had been silent, neutral, but her gaze had confirmed what I already knew. Lena's downfall wasn't manufactured by me, it was the natural result of her choices. And yet, I was entangled in the satisfaction, the bittersweet pleasure of seeing reality unfold. I whispered to myself, almost a mantra, justice is messy, but it's inevitable. I must stay, clean in my intent. Focused. Free. Looking out the window, the city lights blurred through my thoughts. Lena's empire of lies was crumbling. But for the first time in months, I realized my journey wasn't just about her. It was about me, learning to navigate power, emotion, and morality in a world where betrayal had once nearly destroyed me. And in that quiet realization, I felt something I hadn't in a long time, clarity. The past was painful. The present was turbulent. But the future was mine to rebuild, without her, without anger dictating my every move. I exhaled slowly, letting the tension leave my body. Lena's fall was happening, and I could witness it with both satisfaction and empathy. I could hold my dignity even as hers unraveled. And for the first time in months, I slept without the weight of her shadow pressing down on me. I stepped into my office, sunlight spilling across the desk where Lena's influence used to linger. I didn't pause. This space was mine now, clear, organized, and full of potential. Mark leaned against the doorway. Feels different, doesn't it? He asked, a grin tugging at his lips. It does, I admitted, running a hand along the desk. It's quiet, but not empty. It's mine. You've come a long way, he said. I remember the first week after everything. I chuckled softly. Yeah. I thought I'd never breathe again. I thought every step forward was just pretending. Pretending? Mark asked. Not pretending anymore, I said. Learning. Growing. Every mistake, every humiliation, it taught me who I was. Jordan's voice came from behind me. And who are you now? I turned. Stronger. Wiser. I can face the world without fear of being broken. He nodded approvingly. Good. That's the goal. Not just survival, but thriving. A soft laugh interrupted us. Ella stepped in, her eyes bright. And thriving looks good on you. I smiled, a warmth spreading in my chest. I've realized it's not just about proving anyone wrong. It's about proving to myself that I matter, that I can stand alone and still be whole. Ella tilted her head. I like that. I like the person you've become. And I like the way you can still laugh despite everything. I leaned back in my chair. It's the laughter that reminds me I'm alive. That I survived her, the lies, and myself at my lowest. Mark's grin widened. You survived more than just her. You survived the versions of you that doubted yourself. I nodded slowly. And I'm not the same man who waited for her approval, who measured his worth by her whims. That man, he's gone. Sophia appeared quietly at the doorway, watching with her usual gentle gaze. And yet, you've kept the parts that matter, the compassion, the empathy. That's rare. It's hard, I admitted. Some days, I feel the pull to be bitter, to let anger define me. But then I remember, growth isn't about revenge. It's about choice. Ella stepped closer. And you're choosing wisely. I hope so, I said, meeting her eyes. I've realized the spaces she once controlled, my time, my home, my mind, they're mine again. And I can fill them with people and experiences that lift me, not diminish me. Mark nodded. And look around. You've surrounded yourself with the right ones. Friends, mentors, people who genuinely care. Even in small ways, Sophia added, like noticing her absence without letting it control your days. I laughed softly. I still remember the morning she'd leave a mess, or the way she'd dismiss my efforts. And now, I reclaim those little things. I make them mine, without resentment, just ownership. Jordan stepped closer. That's the essence of rebirth. Not forgetting the past, but learning from it. Not letting others' actions define your story. I get it now, I said. Pain taught me patience. Betrayal taught me discernment. Humiliation, humility. And all of it brought me here, to a version of myself I can respect. Ella's hand brushed mine, just briefly. And the best part? I looked at her, curious. Is that the story isn't over? You've got chapters left, and now you get to write them. I smiled, feeling the weight of the past lift. Yes. And I'll write them with honesty, with courage, with me in control. No fear, no compromise. Mark raised his coffee cup. To the rebirth, then. To the rebirth, I echoed, lifting my own cup. I paused, letting the silence hang for a moment, filled only with laughter and warmth. In the distance, I knew Lena could see none of this. No power, no influence, nothing to manipulate. She was a shadow of the past, irrelevant. And for the first time in a long time, I felt complete, not because I had defeated her, but because I had reclaimed myself. I whispered to myself, quiet but firm, I am whole. I am free. I am unshakably me. My phone buzzed. I saw her name, Lena. My first instinct was to ignore it, but curiosity nudged me. I opened the message, can we talk? Please. I was wrong. I laughed quietly, shaking my head. Mark, sitting across from me, noticed. She's reaching out. Yes, I said slowly. After everything, she wants closure, I guess. Closure, huh? Sounds like your turn to speak. I smiled faintly. Or listen. But I'm done reacting emotionally. I've learned that. The next day, she arrived at the cafe. Her posture was hesitant, her usual arrogance replaced by something fragile. I gestured to an empty seat. Hi, she said, voice low. I messed up. I realize that now. I studied her, calm. Yes. You've realized. That's a start. I never meant to hurt you like that, she continued. I was selfish. Blind. And I see now, all the pain I caused. I nodded slowly, letting her words hang in the air. You see it, yes. But seeing isn't the same as fixing. And it's not my job to make you whole again. Her lips pressed into a thin line. I want to apologize. Truly. I hear you, I said, keeping my voice even. And I forgive the person you were, but I don't need to reopen that chapter. She looked down, shoulders slumping. So, you're not angry? I'm beyond anger, I said. I've had time to process, to understand myself, to reclaim my life. Anger would be wasted energy. Lena swallowed hard. I see. I really see now what I lost. And I see what I gained, I replied. Freedom. Clarity. Strength. I don't need to hold on to the past to define myself. Her eyes filled with tears. Do you ever regret giving me your heart? I shook my head. I don't regret loving you. That love taught me resilience, taught me boundaries. I wouldn't be who I am today without it. She exhaled shakily. I never realized, until it was too late. I'm sorry for everything. I accept that you're sorry, I said softly. But I won't let it pull me back into the shadows of your choices. My life is mine now. She nodded, a single tear tracing her cheek. And, will we ever? No, I said firmly, though kindly. There's no we anymore. Only me. Only my path forward. And it's brighter without the weight of your mistakes. I reached into my bag and handed her a small bundle of letters, old reminders, mementos of what once was. Take these. Keep them if you must, but they're for the past. I'm stepping into the future without them. Her hands trembled as she accepted them. Thank you, she whispered. You're welcome, I said. And Lena. I hope you find your own clarity. Not through manipulation or pride, but through honesty and reflection. She nodded silently, understanding the depth of my words. And in that moment, I felt an immense lightness, a calm I hadn't known in years. Mark, who had been waiting nearby, smiled when he saw me. Looks like she finally got the message. I think she did, I said, voice steady. But the important part is that I got mine first. Closure. Freedom. Rebirth. Later, I walked through the streets I used to traverse with her, noting the cafes, the parks, the small haunts that held memories. I paused at each one, breathing in the air, acknowledging the past but refusing to let it define me. I smiled quietly, whispering to myself, I am whole. I am free. I am unshakably me. And with that, I stepped forward, leaving behind the echoes of betrayal, the weight of broken trust, and the shadow of someone who had once tried to control me. My path stretched ahead, open and untainted, a future defined by my choices, my strength, and my unbreakable resolve. The past was acknowledged, the lesson learned, and the freedom I fought for felt absolute. No anger lingered, only clarity. No bitterness remained, only the satisfaction of knowing I had transformed my pain into power, and in doing so, I had finally claimed my life.